Hello, I am Erica Rusi Peterson with SpeakMethod.com, and this is English Pronunciation News. We will hear some current news and study American English pronunciation. This time also some grammar, especially a, an, and the. First, the news. Though internet grocery stores did not enjoy success in the 1990s, they are making a comeback now. Safeway.com reports that business has doubled in the last 2 years. Industry experts say that it is no longer a question of whether or not online groceries will be successful, but of how large they will become. They may only appeal to people in large population centers where the avoidance of a commute can save significant time. This can make up for the lost ability to choose one's own produce. Many consumers reject online groceries for that reason alone, even though the grocers have an interest in choosing the best possible produce for each customer. Okay, that completes the news. Now let's study rules for a, an, and the. In this news report, we have a couple phrases with years. We always use the when referring to the name of a year, also the name of decades. The 1990s, the 1980s, the 60s. We will use the for the names of years or decades. We also use the when using last or next and a number of years. For instance, you say for the next 2 years, for the last 2 years. On the other hand, if it's only about next year or last year, the immediate next or last, we do not use the. Just say next year, last year. Here's a longer phrase, the avoidance of a commute. We often use the when a noun becomes specific through a phrase that comes afterward. Here we have avoidance, and then we have of a commute, making it very specific. And so we use the here. The avoidance of a commute. And a commute is referring to a single possible commute. Here it's similar. In the news report it says the ability to choose. And often we have a verb that comes after, which makes this noun ability specific. You could say the ability to decide, the ability to do something. So again, that verb that comes next is causing this noun to be very specific. And so we use the. Now with all of these phrases, you can see some pronunciation differences, which I would have spoken naturally. Let's think about those rules. You say the normally when it comes before a consonant sound. In this case, N, the 1990s. Or here L, the last 2 years. And it's more natural for Native American speakers to say the when it comes before a vowel sound, as in the avoidance, the ability. However, in American English, we are not as exact as, for instance, British speakers might be with use of the or the. You will hear American speakers say the avoidance, the ability, like that sometimes. So we just go back and forth a little bit. I do advise students that if they're not sure which one, the or the will sound a little more natural, a little more informal, which will help you sound more fluent. We always say the best or the worst. This is called a superlative grammatically, and you use the with it. Here's one more rule for this word, the. If you're talking about something being excellent or really specific, something that you want to draw attention to, then you do say the, regardless of consonant or vowel. So I could say, that was the best movie I've ever seen. When I want to bring out this noun that follows and really say it's something specific or great, usually. Or very much not great, as in the worst movie I've ever seen. So when you're drawing attention, you will say the. Let's look at a couple phrases with a and an. Remember, you use an before a vowel. Actually, these are not quite normal. Usually you say a or an in front of singular nouns, or nouns that are not specific, not known. However, these two phrases are a little unique. A question of is simply a phrase, so you want to remember it that way. We often say it's a question of this or that when we compare things. Or we could say it's not a question of this, it's a question of that. So really, we're not following a, an, and the rules here. We're just using a common phrase. An interest, I often say an interest in, is similar to a question of, too. Because with the word interest, there are some multiple meanings which can be confused. When we say an interest, we usually refer to business or having a share in something. And in that case, we'll say an interest. Even though there might be some small multiple business interests, but we will talk about a person having an interest in this thing or an interest in this company. And really this just helps us to see the difference between the business kind of interest and all the other interests, such as just enjoying running or reading, all the other kinds of interest. So an interest is usually about business. And then we often don't use any article, a, an, or the, when we refer to plural things that are not specific. Here's an example. In the news report, there was the sentence, many consumers reject online groceries. In this case, we don't need to say many consumers reject the online groceries. We're just speaking generally, all online groceries. Many consumers reject online groceries. Now, if we do make it specific by adding something afterward, then we'll use the. For instance, many consumers reject the online groceries that only sell produce. So once it becomes specific, then we'll need to use the word the. Okay, this completes English pronunciation news for today. Check back soon for more news and study all pronunciation rules and also grammar rules at www.speakmethod.com. Thanks. Bye-bye.